There's some things that have been bugging me. I should actually be more clear. I'm heartbroken about a few things lately. Sometimes, and this happened recently, which is why it's fresh on my mind last week, I'll meet people in the autism community, parents. In this case, it was a dad. And, we share stories, and I hear the challenges that they're wrestling with. And frankly, a lot of times I feel like they have a more challenging situation than I have, a lot of times. And that breaks my heart, first of all. But then I'll share about how we learned about spelled communication at that symposium with Elliot. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to realwordswithsam.com and read the free preview of the book that Sam and I co-authored. And I'll tell that story, and I'll tell how amazed I was and how I was still skeptical of whether or not this would work with our son, because we'd tried hundreds of things and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and none of the things really seemed to make a huge difference. Maybe a little incremental improvement, maybe, but maybe that was in our heads, a lot of times. And then I'll share kind of how our relationship has changed and some of the recent things that Sam has spelled and done. Sometimes people will have this attitude, well, that's good. They're happy for me. They're, oh, I'm so happy for you guys. It's really, really great. But it's very obvious that they have no belief that this could be true for them. In fact, this gentleman said something like, well, all of our kids are in different places. That's just that some things are just not in the cards for some of us. But what breaks my heart is that they've already decided. They've decided that it's not in the cards for them, and that breaks my heart, because there's so many thousands of stories of people that were severely and profoundly impacted by autism with behaviors and all types of things that, through presuming competence in them, treating them like they're smart, it changes a lot of the behaviors. Those behaviors a lot of times are from the frustration, or how they can, even if they couldn't understand the words, I believe that they can feel whether their parents or people around them believe in them or think that they're capable. And I don't think that reading our book is going to change that. I mean, I think it'll be more of the, oh, I'm really happy for you. It's a really great story. It's really heartwarming, and that's great for you, right? Coming from a background, decades in sales and sales training and leadership, in sales in general, I'm going to teach somebody this philosophy. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next, right? And that's great if you're, selling a tangible product or even a service. But the problem with that philosophy, the who's next philosophy, well, that so what part, that's what breaks my heart, because there's a human involved. There's a human life. There's life fulfillment and satisfaction at stake. I learned from John Berghoff just this simple question to ask, to stay curious about things, and that is, what if it's true, right? I also ask, what if it's not true, for things like that. But I never want to be a person that is accused of being closed-minded. Right? I learned a long time ago, working in sales, and we were recruiting a lot of younger people, and people's 18 or 19-year-olds' parents decide for them that their kid's not going to be good at sales, and do not presume any competence, do not give any belief that their child could achieve certain things. And I've seen the damage, the damage of that. But this level of damage, this level of closed-mindedness, it's just cruel. It's just incredibly cruel to not be open-minded about something like it. And that's my opinion. I also don't want to be accused of being certain about anything, because when certainty steps in, wisdom has to go out the back door. Certainty and wisdom cannot occupy the same space. And so while I've seen what I've seen, I've seen not just with Sam, but hundreds of others, of spellers, I'm not just going to sit here and be certain that it's going to work for everybody. I do have evidence from, just recently, Dawn Marie Gavin was on the High Wire with Dell Bigtree, and she worked with thousands of people, and she's never not been able to get someone to spelling on the boards. And that's remarkable. Now, are there going to be some people out there that are learning, that have a learning disorder and can't necessarily do it? Yeah, probably, but that's true of neurotypical people and neurodiverse people. There are people that are more capable than others. But it also has been proven that if we treat people as if they're capable, neurodiverse or not, they are more capable than they would be if they were treated as incapable. So I see only upside in presuming competence and believing in someone's capability, and no downside. What is the downside? Even if they don't understand and are not processing and thinking deeply, well, by me treating them that way, it changes me. it changes me just as much as it might change them. But if there's a 5% chance that they hear and they understand, if it's a 1% chance that they hear and they're understanding, gosh, it's so worth it. It's just so worth it. So why am I sharing this? I don't know. I mean, I'm not probably going to convince that guy, right? But maybe it plants a seed, and then he hears it from someone else, and from someone else, and someone else, and maybe it gets to the point where he says, "Well, maybe this is worth looking at." I don't know. Maybe somebody will hear this message and take that next step to believing and presuming competence. And it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy to just change the way we think about something, but it is possible. It can be done. And I just encourage anybody here who has someone in their life that they need to presume more competence in, that they will. All right. So don't just think about it. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. See ya.